You've probably seen a lot of Hollywood movies where the great United States defends the Earth from the big bad aliens. You've probably thought to yourself that this might be a little far-fetched. Today's video is going to be about aliens. Well, let me tell you, it is really far-fetched. An encounter with aliens will not go how you expect at all. In fact, the moment we see the sign of any aliens, we're probably doomed. When aliens visit us, we're not going to see Clark Kent or Doctor Who. We're probably going to see the Predators. We're going to tell exactly how we think this encounter will be. But there is one important question we should ask. Why haven't we made contact with aliens yet? There are more than 100 billion galaxies in the observable universe, and at least 500 billion planets in the Milky Way alone. With the sheer number of endless space, surely somewhere another life form exists, right? That could be the case, but even if it is, just like us, they might not have the technology to travel through space or discover other life forms. If they did, that would spell bad news for the rest of us. To put it plainly, even the weakest alien will be able to take us out. The reason that is because we can't even get out of our own backyard, let alone the neighborhood, while these aliens achieved intergalactic travel. We also have this idea that aliens will be friendly. They are simply coming to introduce themselves and share their technology with us, because that's what we do with each other, right? The only universal law shared between all organisms is to create, explore, expand, and conquer. If the aliens decide to pay us a little visit, we won't have time to prepare. No notice period, nothing. We'll only know once these aliens are at our doorstep. What will probably happen is that for the first time in this planet's history, all of the world's governments will come together as one and finally work together to assess the situation. Experts from every single department will probably be brought in to observe and report. From military experts to psychologists and linguistic experts, everything will be recorded to try and decipher any form of language, gestures, movements, body language, etc. We will try to decide if these aliens come in peace or if they are here to conquer. The problem is, we probably won't be able to communicate, which will increase the already tense situation for both sides. The only way we can communicate with aliens is if they speak our languages. Now moving on to what they look like using what we already know. Experts around the world agree that proteins and molecules behave the same everywhere under any circumstances. That would mean that aliens probably would have gone through a similar evolution as humans. If that's the case, we can assume that they have binocular vision, with two eyes located close to the brain. They will probably be land creatures, which will mean they have a minimum of 2 legs, and they should have a minimum of 3 fingers to be able to handle tools and equipment. If they didn't have all of these, they wouldn't be where they are at the moment. It is not a perfect illustration, but it is a logical model with a strong factual basis. If we have creatures that look weird on Earth, imagine what an alien from a different planet will look like. While the government is busy with the aliens, the media will have a field day stirring up trouble on the news.
No more news comes out of that area.
You will be advised to take shelter and stay inside until further notice. Misinformation will spread like wildfire. Conspiracy theorists will finally have their chance to shine all over 4chan and Reddit. People will start to panic. There could even be mass riots and public looting, all while the aliens observe from the comfort of their ships. The world governments and scientists will start to share any information or files they have on previous extraterrestrial encounters that might have happened but were hidden by the government. What may happen next is one of 2 scenarios. The first scenario is that we might not get a response from the aliens. We would be met with radio silence. And it could mean a number of things. It could mean that there are no aliens on board and we received an empty alien ship. It could also mean that they just don't understand us or our messages aren't going through. Or it could simply mean that they are waiting for backup. The second scenario is that they already tried to communicate, but we don't have the technology to receive their messages. We could also receive it and not be able to understand it. Either way, tensions will rise between us and we would be screwed. We don't want to piss off the aliens because if they pull out the strap, we have no way of defending ourselves and civilians will push the panic button. Our nuclear weapons will be put on standby, and that would be our best shot against them. Unless by some miracle they react differently on a molecular level than humans, like for example their skin melts when it comes in contact with water, or like in the movie Battleship, they can't handle the sun. If that's not the case, then we're screwed. Now, even if they mean us no harm, they could still probably kill us by bringing over a form of radiation that they are accustomed to. Or they could bring us a microorganism that is unfamiliar to us, like when the Europeans brought smallpox to the Native Americans and wiped most of them out. Ironically, though, we use the examples of the people who came to conquer the naive group of people. Frankly speaking, if they were here to annihilate, we would be destroyed before we even have a chance. Even if we try our nukes, they probably won't even phase the aliens.
Imagine shooting a man with your last bullet, and he stands there, unfazed.
Now, in the case of a competitive war, let's look at what we have. If the aliens managed to reach us, that would probably mean that they achieved the ability to travel at light speed. If they managed to do so, then they probably were able to harness the power of the sun. If they did that, it pretty much means game over. Just 1% of the sun's solar energy is equivalent to 100 quintillion watts. That's a 1 with 24 zeros in front of it. Trust us, we've looked it up. That number is 50 billion times more than all of what humanity generates. Now look at us. We are primates that call themselves humans, armed with rockets, nukes, and memes. If they were able to do that, and they have this kind of power between their hands, what the hell are we gonna do? We just aren't ready for this. We would be walking into a gunfight, not even with a knife. They would be armed with a nuclear gun, and we would be armed with like a pencil or something. Now, unless we were sending them John Wick or Chuck Norris, it's safe to assume that we won't be winning this war. The only hope we have is if we either develop our existing weapons, like the Dragonfire laser technology, or we look outside into space to find something new we can use, like dark matter. But those are two different topics for different videos. How do you think an alien encounter would go? Do you think we actually stand a chance to win this fight? Or are we doomed from the start? And finally, if you made it this far, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot. Leave a comment about what we should discuss next. See you in the next one.